Hi, I'm JT and this is my corner. I normally post a bunch of stuff, kind of try to be funny. And you can look that up on my YouTube channel under the shorts. But right now, I would like to take a minute and talk to you about something a little bit more serious. I don't want to get, all down and negative during the holidays, but I want to tell you a story that happened to me this week. I had a friend come in to where I work, and he said that he has two big bags of groceries, canned goods, and other stuff that the local high school, Bishop Kenny, has put together to give to, people in need, any family that needs it. And so he ran out of people to give it to, and he brought it to me. Wanted to know if I knew anybody that might need groceries. It was Wednesday night, day before Thanksgiving. So I said, sure, I will try. So I called my neighbor lady. She is 84. She lives by herself, and I always thought that she was doing okay because she would dress nicely, she drives, she goes to church, she plays in the garden. And I see her going out occasionally with friends. So I assumed that she was doing fine. I called her and I told her that I had these bags of groceries and did she know anybody that might need them for Thanksgiving? And she got quiet and said, well, I do. Kind of threw me off guard because I was under the impression that she was doing just fine. So anyway, after work, I went to her house and I took in the big bag of groceries, and she asked me to sit down, and I said to her, I thought you were doing good. And she goes, I am. But she says, I live on the small pension, Social Security, and I, retired like 24 years ago, so I only get like $1,300 a month, and it's tough to make do. And I said, well, what do you do? And she says, my daughter sends me money occasionally. She lives out of town. And she said, I have friends who take me out to dinner once a week, and I order, something big enough that I could bring the leftovers home so I have something to eat the next day. And she says, I kind of live on the basics, the bread, the milk, the butter. And she says, I don't turn my heat on when it gets cold. I just wear extra clothes. And I don't turn my AC on. I just open up the windows. I was surprised. Anyway, she went on to tell me that she cuts her own hair. She doesn't go to the beauty shop. When they go out to eat, the only thing she orders is water, so she doesn't have to pay extra. She gardens and, tries to grow some vegetables, but it hasn't worked out that well this year. So I was kind of surprised, to tell you the truth. I asked her if she knew anybody else because I had another bag, and she said, yes, the lady up the street who lives on the corner with the dog, she probably could use some help. And I said, okay. So I said my goodbyes, and I drove down to the other lady, and I knocked on the door, and this little lady came out that reminded me of my grandmother. She was short, with white hair up in the bun, and she had a little dog with her, kind of older dog. And when I explained to her why I was there, that I had a bag of groceries from Bishop Kenny I would like to give her, I didn't want to insult her. She got teared up, and she's like, oh my goodness, please come in. So she invited me in, and funny thing, her house smelled like cinnamon and oranges. It smelled so good. And I asked her, your house smells so good. It's a tiny little house. And she said, yes. She goes, I always keep a pot of water on the stove, and I throw my apple core in there after I'm done eating my apple, or orange peels after I get done eating oranges. And she said, I keep the water on so that it makes humidity in my house, and it warms it up. She lives in a shaded lot, so she, needs a little warmth in her house, even in the summer, she said. So we started talking, and she said that she's really been struggling. She's also in her 80s. Her dog looks like it was in her 80s. But she said that she's been struggling. She doesn't make that much in Social Security. And even though her house is paid for, she still has to pay property tax and, electricity. She doesn't own a car. She no longer drives. And friends take her to the doctor or, grocery store or wherever she needs to go. And so on my way home, I realized how selfish I might have been. I started my YouTube channel with retirement sucks because I was feeling bad for myself, because when I retired, I was, financially strapped, and I retired early because I was with my dad when he was dying, and I stayed down there, and so I retired early thinking that, I don't know what I was thinking, but anyway, so I only get 75% of my Social Security benefits. And so when I started my Retirement Sucks series, I was feeling sorry for myself, but now I realize there are a lot of seniors out there that are struggling even more than I am. I am grateful that I have what I have. I have a wonderful landlord who hasn't raised my rent in a long time. And even though I live on less than $1,900 a month, I make do. And I eat great, and I don't go out. I cut my own hair. But I'm really grateful for everything that I have. So I just wanted to bring that up, that seniors are struggling. And I have to say one thing. When I started my Senior Suck series, I had somebody say, well, you should have saved. You should have thought about what you were going to do when you retired. Well, you know what? Shit happens. The one lady next door, she took care of her husband while he was dying for a couple years, and they used all their savings, for chemo or whatever, they had for medical expenses. The other lady, she raised children all by herself. She had a death in her family. A child died, and, she was divorced, and so she has a little bit of Social Security. And me, I raised 3 children on my own, and it was really hard to save. So how dare you, belittle any senior that is struggling just because you're, stuck up asshole. You should think twice before you say some dumb shit like that, because it could happen to you. Anyway, I wanted to say this, that it really brought home the fact that seniors are, most of them are alone. They've outlived their family, and they're really struggling. Not only are they financially struggling, but they're emotionally struggling if they lost a family member, or the children are not around, or they don't have grandchildren, or unable to do what they want to do. So this holiday season, if you see anybody, older person, in front of you shopping, and the only thing that they buy is cat food and tuna, step up a little bit. and help them out. You don't have to say anything, just put $10 in their hand or pay for their groceries. I actually took some dog food down to this lady down there because she told me that to skimp on her dog food, she would put leftovers and mix it in for the dog. So her and the dog ate about, the same thing to make her dog food stretch. So I went back to Publix and I picked up a big bag of dog food and I took it down to her, and it just breaks my heart. People always say, oh, I'm struggling. Well, you know what? Cut back on some stuff. Maybe you wouldn't struggle so much. Anyway, I just wanted to share that story, and I thank you for my friend who brought me the bag of food, or the 2 bags of food, because I learned a lot, and I made 2 friends in my neighborhood. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye-bye.